Good evening, and welcome back to Awi's Scales. Uh, Miss Stalker here, doing a Tales of Aria set review. Tales of Aria releases on September the 24th at your local retailer. Um, Today we are talking about the much maligned Elemental Runeblade hero. Right, many of us were not expecting another Runeblade. And I understand. Chain is almost like the boogeyman of the format. So there was a lot of another Runeblade hero thought. But I think she plays differently based upon accounts that I've heard from other people that have already got to play this hero at Vegas. So let's talk about Briar. Briar, Warden of Thorns. She can play Runeblade, Elemental, Earth, and Lightning cards. Whenever an attack action card you control deals damage to an opposing hero, you get to create an embodiment of Earth token. And whenever you play your second non-attack action card each turn, create an embodiment of Lightning token. So what do these tokens do? Embodiment of Earth token is an aura token that sits in play, and it gives all of your non-attack actions +1 defense, and it destroys itself at the start of your next turn. So it helps you defend better, which is definitely an Earth trait. And the embodiment of Lightning token lets you when you play an attack action card, you can destroy the embodiment of Lightning token destroys itself and gives it go again. So both of those are very interesting and very cool at the same time. So it definitely seems like that you can play a more full defensive strategy. With Briar, or you can play a full aggressive strategy to let you go wide. So it already seems like that it's going to play a little differently than both Viserai and Chain play. And of course, there's the young version. Now, you'll notice we didn't get a weapon in the token slot. We didn't get or in the Elemental Runeblade section. That's another point of discussion when we get to those specific pieces of equipment later. So here are the Majestics. Blossoming Spellblade. Earth and Lightning Fusion. So you have to, for this to be fused, you have to be able to show both. Or a card that has both traits. If it was fused, it gains when this deals damage to an opposing hero, you may banish a non-attack action card from your graveyard. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant, and if it would be put into your graveyard, instead banish it. When you attack with Spellblade, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So this only comes in red. It's a 2 cost, 6 attack, 3 defense. So being able to reuse your non-attack actions out of graveyard, very powerful effect. But this only works while fused. And you only get to do it potentially twice, right? The bottom effect, if you get to deal an arcane damage, that will trigger. If you deal any point of physical damage, it will trigger a second time. So you might be able to get 2 uses out of that ability. Obviously here, just like the other classes, there's more planning and more setup required than the original 8 classes. But there are more powerful overall effects. Flicker Wisp. So this is a Runeblade action. Cost 0, 2 defense, only comes in yellow. Lightning Fusion. While this is fused until end of turn, action card effects you control that deal arcane damage instead deal that much arcane damage plus 1. Deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Go again. So again, costs you 0. Have to show a lightning card to fuse it. If you do, then this card goes from dealing 1 damage to dealing 2 damage. Has go again. And future cards that you play this turn also do the same thing. Now, could you imagine what kind of chaos that you could do if you played one of these first, revealing a lightning card and deal 2 damage, playing a second one, revealing a lightning card. You'll deal 3 damage, go again, and then playing a third one and dealing 4 damage to a hero, go again, and still have the lightning card in hand to attack with last. I mean, that's 9 damage that you've already dealt this turn, not counting what you're fixing to play. Force of Nature, this is a 0 cost, blue only, majestic elemental Runeblade action. This is a Briar specialization. It is Earth Fusion. Whenever an attack action card you control hits this turn, if its attack is greater than its base attack, draw a card. If Force of Nature was fused, your next attack this turn gains +1 attack. Go again. So again, a very powerful effect that requires fusion to fully go off. Now, the good news here is even if you fail to fuse this one, you can still chain off some very dumb turns if you have a static way to boost your attack cards to let you draw more and more cards. Oddly enough, there's a card in the set that does that. More on that later. Yeah, you can get some dumb turns with this as well. So, now into the rare cards. So we have Explosive Growth. 1 cost, 3 attack, 3 defense. Earth Fusion. If Explosive Growth was fused, when it deals damage, attacks you control gain +1 attack this combat chain. When you attack with Explosive Growth, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So if this is fused, you play this, you pitch a card to pay for the resource cost, you reveal an Earth Fusion card, or an Earth card, to fuse with it. Now that all costs are paid, second line of text. When you attack with Explosive Growth, deal 1 arcane damage to a hero. So now they've got a 3 attack and a 1 arcane damage. If they let the arcane damage go through, this immediately grows to a 4. Now, any subsequent attacks that you play, as long as they don't break the combat chain, are going to get +1 attack. If you play a second copy of this, it's going to get bigger still. So again, with these newer heroes, there's more consistency issues, but more powerful effects if you're able to chain all that together. Comes in 3 flavors, 3, 2, and 1. Next up is Rites of Lightning. This is a 1 cost lightning fusion, 4 attack, 3 defense. Now, when you attack with Rites of Lightning, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. If you have dealt arcane damage this turn, Rites of Lightning gains Go Again. So again, the fusion effect lets you auto-trigger the rest of the card, but it will at least trigger off previous text. If you have triggered arcane damage earlier this turn, it'll gain Go Again without you having to do that. It helps smooth out those turns where you're trying to go wide and mix your arcane and your physical damage. Comes in 3 flavors as usual. Alright, Arcanic Shockwave. This is a 0 cost attack. 4, 3, and 2 based on color. 3 defense. Lightning Fusion, and when you attack with it, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So this is your free one that lets you do Lightning Fusion Now, you'll notice, as you've seen through here, the elemental cards do not have, excuse me, do not have an element listed down here. This is why I said that consistency, deck building, and more powerful effects are a problem. So the card will literally have to say lightning in this text box down here. We'll get to each of those specific cards in other videos that I'll be doing. But know that there's going to be some consistency issues. Really powerful effects, and I really like what they're trying to do because it decentralizes some of the power of a lot of these heroes. Vela Flash. So this is a 1 cost elemental attack, elemental Runeblade attack, 5, 4, and 3 defense. Has lightning fusion. If it was fused, you may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Okay, so this this fuse ability is interesting because it allows you to create some weird timing windows and play stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to play at instant speed. This is one of those cards that you may never lightning fuse because there isn't anything that you can sneak in. Other times you'll absolutely want to lightning fuse it with a card that they've not, that you're not, you pitch and pay for it, you play it, you reveal the card, and then your other card in hand or the one in your arsenal is the card you actually play so that they don't know what's coming. But like I said, you may never fuse this card. It just may be an attack for you. But it does have some interesting applications. Rites of Replenishment. This is a 2 cost, 6 attack, 3 defense. This is an earth fusion. If you've attacked with it, if you've dealt arcane damage this turn, you may put a non-attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. So, Unhallowed Rites for Elemental Runeblades. When you attack with this card, if it was fused, you may put an attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. So this lets you recur 2 cards. If you've dealt arcane damage and this was fused, you get a non-attack action and an attack action to go on the bottom of your deck. That's very powerful to stack your deck for late game. I think this card's better in Blitz because you're more likely to see the end of the bottom of your deck than you are in Classic Constructed, but both are still quite, the effects are quite good. This comes in 3 flavors. All 3 of them have the high breakpoint. It's 4, 5, and 6. So this is a 2 card threshold to block with, and you're going to get the cards regardless as long as you meet the requirements there. You're not going to have to worry about a non-hit trigger. Alright, Stir the Wildwood. Another Earth Fusion card. 2 cost, 3 defense. Red's 5, yellow's 4, and blue is 3. If you've dealt arcane damage to opposing hero this turn, Stir the Wildwood gains +2. attack. If Stir the Wildwood was fused, he gains +2. So there's a potential here for the red to be a 9 attack, the yellow to be an 8 attack, and the blue to be a 7 attack, which all three are higher than any breakpoints that you normally see. Now, the arcane damage portion is probably going to be easier than the fused portion most of the time, based on your hand. Because there are a lot of cards that want to do arcane damage, and a lot of those are lightning cards. So a lot of times you might get one of these effects, but not both. Even so, even at that level, really good. 7, 6, and 5 are still really good there, and it's a big attack for Runeblade. I mean, all right, Bramble Spark. So this is an elemental Runeblade, 0 cost, 2 defense. This also has Earth Fusion. The next attack action you play this turn gains, when you attack with this card, deal 1 damage to target hero. If Bramble Spark was fused, the next attack action card you play this turn gains +3, +2, or +1 based on the color. Go again. So what do we have here? This is the this is Seeds of Agony for Elemental Runeblade. Now, obviously, Seeds of Agony is a little more broken because you get to play that from your Banished Zone. Bramble Spark lets you Earth Fuse it for an additional attack bonus, as well as doing arcane damage. Now, obviously you need effects that are triggering. You need non-attack actions as well as attack actions to trigger many of the abilities that you're going to see here in your deck. And pump effects are, for your attacks, are very good. I don't see you playing 9 of this, though. I could be wrong. But at least with Seeds, even if you got some interesting hands, you could do some dumb stuff with banishing it from your hand, playing it from your Banished Zone, etc. I don't think you can't do near as much with Bramble Spark, even though I think it's a very good card for Briar. Alright, and the last card from the Runeblades, the Elemental Runeblade section, is Inspire Lightning. 1 cost, 2 defense. The Lightning Fusion, if it was fused, deal 3 arcane damage to target hero. Are you kidding me right now? Obviously, the yellow is a shock or 2 damage, and the Inspire Lightning Blue is a 1 damage. Now, there is no go again on this card. That is by far its biggest drawback. But being able to literally bolt your opponent for 3, shock them for 2, or zap him for one, him or her for one, is incredibly interesting in most decks. Again, this is arcane damage, so. And there was a card earlier that lets you play a non-attack action as an instant. And in that case, you could play this as your instant and really blow your opponent out of the water, going, oh, hi, I'm going to bolt you for 3 while this attack is going on. Again, I think this will be very similar to some of the other decks that we've seen, like Kano and Viserai and Bolton, where you have all these different lines that you can take and all these different cards that you need to set up, but have some really powerful effects and turns if you can manage to put them all together. Alright, so that's the end of the Elemental Runeblade section. Next up will be the Elemental section, which all 3 classes will be able to play. Until next time, even in Wraith, there is no escape from the tiger.